Hello everyone, this is Maureen and welcome back to another day of why I love to crochet. But it's not about crochet today. What I want to talk about is hard work. And if you're willing to learn something new, you've got to put in the hard work, don't you? And one of the things on the top of the list of learning anything new is practice. Now, there's also, you need to have the right tools. You need to be willing to research, to read, to, in our case, as far as crochet or knitting, any fiber project, being willing to watch videos. And even really, now that I think about it, you can learn just about anything on YouTube, can't you? But the hard work that I want to talk about today is I want to brag on my grandson. He is in a band competition today. Now, not just one band competition, folks, but 3 competitions in one day. At 9 o'clock this morning, he was in a orchestra competition. Now, he plays the bass, the stringed instrument, not the guitar, but with looks like a standing violin, but he plays the bass. And then he has 2 marching contests that he'll be performing in today. And there, he is the captain of a group in the percussion section that's called the Quad Squad, which means they have 4, drums that they beat on. But the reason why I want to brag on my grandson is that he is very musically talented. He plays many different instruments and he's always wanting to learn how to play more. So even though he has shown this talent for music, he wants to go on to college to be an engineer. But there are parts of me that my little heartstring, tugs at, and I really, really wish and hope, of course God has a plan for him and we all know that, but there's that part of me that would really love to see all this hard work that he's put in carry on into his adult life, because we all know that the only way we are going to succeed at learning something is to enjoy it. And I used to tell my students all the time, don't worry about chasing the big bucks. Whatever it is you decide to do in life or to be in life, make sure it's something that you enjoy, because you're going to be doing it for a long, long time. And if it's something that takes a lot of education, like going to college, maybe, like doctors, dentists, anyone in the medical field, there's not only just going to college, but then there's all those internships and specializations. All of that takes a lot of hard work. So if you're going to enjoy that, then, like I said, we all have to put in the hard work. So, as I said, I love the fact that my grandson loves music, because quite frankly, our family is kind of musically inclined. It really, really is. Both my husband and I, many of you know, I was raised at the children's home. He was only there for a little while. But we were able to pursue our interest in music. We both were in the choir. We got to travel quite a bit to churches and organizations promoting the children's home and showing some things that were happening there, and of course the choir being one of them. I was also extremely fortunate to be able to learn how to play the piano. And even though I didn't want to, folks, I will admit this up front. One of the conditions the last 2 years of my piano program, my instructor pushed me to learn how to play the organ. Now, little side note, Maureen does not do well with multiple pedals down on the floor. So yes, I can play the organ, but don't ask me to do it at the drop of a hat, because that is one instrument that I do need practice on. Because like I said, more than two pedals on the floor, yeah, not my thing. But anyway, that's to explain the fact that I do know how to play that. In the band, I learned not only how to play the trumpet, but I also learned to play a much bigger instrument, the baritone. And so we're both musically inclined. And it's wonderful that I can point to my children and say, my girls, all three of them were in the band. My oldest daughter played the drums. She played the tenor saxophone and the bass saxophone. She also played the oboe. My middle daughter played the clarinet. My youngest daughter played the flute and the piccolo. Wayne's two kids, no, wait a minute, his oldest daughter, she played the cello. So it's just, music is in our blood. That's just all there is to it. Our oldest granddaughter, she, all throughout her, from the time she's itty bitty and she could have control of those feet, folks, she learned to dance. And yes. So music has played a great part of our family's lives, and we see where it's continuing forward in not only our grandchildren, but you know what? We have a great grandson that I think he's going to move forward too in music. We just haven't figured out which yet. Don't know if it'll be singing, don't know if it'll be dance, don't know if it'll be an particular instrument, but you know, it's great to see those kinds of things being passed down. And so that kind of brings me around to our fiber arts. Whether you're a crocheter, a knitter, someone that works with the loom, someone who quilts, sews, no matter what it is that you do, you yourself know that in order to be successful, we have to do that one thing that is many times hard, tedious, and we may not always see successful results, but practice. Practice is what makes us good at what we do. Now, I'm not only saying that practice is what we need in a musical field, in our fiber arts, but practice in painting, practice in, let's say you're in the medical field. You know that, especially in this day and age, technology is making huge advances. So you yourself, you have to read up. You have to practice with the new instruments and procedures that are coming out there every day. Even in the corporate world, if you're someone that sits at a computer all day long, you yourself know that you have to stay up on top of the newest softwares that's always being presented, depending on what your specialty is in the corporate world. So no matter what it is that we do, we have to practice in order to stay on top of what it is that we enjoy doing. You know, even reading takes practice, folks. Did you know that? Writing takes a lot of practice. Yes, it does. And I'm not only just saying to perfect your penmanship, but in writing, we always want people to be able to clearly understand what it is that we're trying to get across. So through writing, we have to practice the vocabulary that we use. We have to practice making sure that what we are writing fits the audience that's going to be reading it. So, although practice is not something that we really like to do, we all know that in order to get better at what it is that we enjoy, it takes practice. Now, many of you know that I've been learning to knit. Okay? Now, I've got the knit stitch down, folks. I can cast on. Now, I don't do the continental, I guess. I don't do that one. I cast right onto the needle. And I can knit. And just this morning, folks, I went and watched Granny D from Knit, Purl, and Squirrel with Granny D. Went and watched her video on how to purl and picked it right up, folks. Now, what am I going to have to do in order to perfect it? I'm going to have to practice. So, in learning this new craft, which is something that I wish to learn to do, now am I going to be proficient at it like I am with my crochet? No, I'm not. Because if I can just knit and purl, folks, I'm going to be happy. I really, really am. And I know there's so many other things that you can do with knitting, but I have learned already for myself that in working these two needles, yep. Let's just say it's going, in order for me to learn more than the purl and the knit, it's going to take a lot more willingness on my part to venture out from that. So I'm going to say that for right now, knitting and purling are going to be just fine for me. And who knows, maybe I will venture out to something else, but I will be happy with what I can accomplish just with those two stitches here. But again, in order for me to become proficient at it, just like I am, that I feel like I am with my crochet, I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to take the time and willingness to be able to put in the work, the hard work that it's going to take in order for me to feel successful at it. So let me ask you, what are some things, or maybe just one item, how about that? Just one thing that you have in your lifetime really been willing to put the hard work into so that you could feel confident in it, so that you could feel successful with it. Let me know down there in the comments. Let me know, I don't care if it's something fiber related, if it was or is a job that you're currently in right now. Maybe it's a hobby, such as our knitting, our crocheting, diamond painting. Just leave me a little comment and let me know what it is that you have enjoyed to the point where you were willing to put in the hard work, that practice word, in order to make you comfortable and successful and productive as well, right? Thank you so much for popping in here and listen to me just chitter chatter here for just a few minutes. But I do feel that it's important for us to talk about things that maybe we already know, but many times it needs to be vocalized, doesn't it? Like practicing. And for those of you that are just learning a craft, and let's pick crochet, let's pick knitting. In order to become proficient at it, you're going to have to practice. You're going to have to be willing to put in the hard work. And it's not something that's just going to, be perfect overnight. No, it's not. And we all have to accept that. But the great thing is that by practicing, we can become proficient. We can get those muscle memories, going. Just like with my grandson today. Practice. Get those muscle memories going from when he's playing on the drum. Practice when he's pushing that bow back and forth across the strings on his bass. Practice. Building muscle memories, building the tools that we need in order to be successful. Yeah, like I said, it's not a word that we like to really vocalize or even think about, but practice, putting in the hard work, produces enjoyment, especially when it's an enjoyment of a product that we can see. So once again, thank you so much for being here. If you were new to my channel and you made it this far, thank you very, very much. You too, leave me a little comment down there in the comment section. I would like to know what it is that you are willing to put the practice in for in order to be proficient. And let me remind you too, on your way out, be sure you hit that subscribe button. Look for the bell that has those cute little hugs on the side, because it'll let you know every time I put up some content, especially when I share with you why crochet is my passion. Always remember, folks, to be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know, could be your light, your lovely, unique light that they need to see. And I'll see you next time. Bye.